there, all you queens and cryptids, and welcome to Queer and Loathing, the only podcast officially endorsed by the deep state.
Oh.
I'm your host, Brett Bodie, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts.
I'm a globalist. Sorry, I'm Mel.
I'm Samantha.
Yes, and today, what are we talking about, guys?
We're talking about an amazing work of art called The Faculty.
Yeah, 1998's The Faculty, directed by Robert Rodriguez.
I will say, I am not usually a fan of Robert Rodriguez movies, but this is my favorite one by a lot.
And some other movies that I think our audience would know of his, From Dusk Till Dawn. He directed that. Spy Kids. Mm-hmm. That was his. And I really liked Spy Kids, like at least the first one.
I've
as
never
a kid.
seen it,
Okay.
I'll admit.
I really loved that one. And Sin City.
And
Did he do one of the Grindhouse?
Yes,
Yes.
he did Planet Terror,
Yeah.
and he did. In my head, I always just think of it as Alita Battle Waifu, but this is the Robert Rodriguez movie that I have always wanted and have seen many times, but finally appreciate.
Okay.
I guess let's talk about our first experiences with this, Brett.
Yeah, so we were kind of trying to think for this episode about sort of a maybe millennial nostalgia movie. So we were thinking late 90s, early 2000s. What can we do? We mentioned a few, and then Mel mentioned The Faculty, and I was like, yes, shut it down. Like, that's what we're doing. We need to do The Faculty. Even though I did not see this movie until like last year or maybe 2 years ago. This wasn't even one that I saw at the time or around.
So you weren't nostalgic for it.
No, but when I finally saw it, I was like, I love this movie. Like, why haven't I been watching it all along? It's just so fun. And a screenplay by Kevin Williamson, who famously wrote Scream.
Yeah.
He created Dawson's Creek. He wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer.
He knows how to teenager.
He really knows how to teenager. And that like kind of snarky, late 90s, early 2000s era.
So cool.
Yeah, everyone's like cool and edgy and angsty.
Mean.
Yeah, and mean.
So mean.
Yeah. But yeah, when I finally saw it, I was like, I love this movie. I cannot believe we'll talk a lot about it, but the incredibly stacked cast.
Oh, we're going to talk
all-timer cast. And just fun riff on like The Thing and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but set in a high school in Ohio.
Yeah, we were thinking about like, I wanted to pick a movie that was a ripoff of another bigger classic movie, because we've covered some classics on this podcast, and it's like, well, let's do a classic, but the like teenager version of it. And I just think it's like such a great, as you said, it's The Thing. It even has the scenes kind of from The Thing, but
Yes, it
so
does.
much crazier than I remember. And
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
But it openly references Invasion of the Body Snatchers in this movie. And I'm glad that you enjoy it. But when I was rewatching this, I was like, oh, you know whose shit this is going to be? Samantha.
Let's find out.
Let's find out right now. Moment of truth. Sam,
So,
what did you think?
Well, leading up to it, because when y'all said let's watch The Faculty, I was like, I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it. And Mel immediately
Had you
was
heard
like,
of it?
No. Mel immediately was like, do not look it up. And I was like,
I did not want you IMDbing this. I wanted
trusted you. I trusted you because I could have just done it anyways. And I was like, maybe I'll still. And I didn't do it. And I am very happy I didn't.
You're welcome.
I kept screaming. Like the first 10 minutes,
Yeah.
first Robert Patrick.
Yep.
And I thought that was it. I thought Mel was going to be like, oh, it's because Robert Patrick from the beginning. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, of course. And then what? Sorry, I know we're going to talk about the characters, but hit me with Usher and then
Baby Usher.
Baby Usher. I'll skip the
baby.
ones whose names I did not get immediately and had to go look up. But Josh Hartnett, I was like, because he's been in
Well, he's
his
in
previews
Trap.
lately. Yeah.
He's like, right now,
So I'm seeing him.
His
And
face
he-
is everywhere.
Yeah, and he was in Oppenheimer last year, so he's having a bit of a career.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize he was in
Resurgence, yeah.
Oppenheimer.
He back. But yeah, and I was like, okay, Elijah Wood, Clea Duvall.
Yep.
Did I miss Jordana Brewster? Mm-hmm. I did have to look up her name, even though I knew her in my heart. But yeah, I won't. There are more. We'll talk about it.
Was she Mary Lou from Atlanta?
No, she
That
was.
was-
Oh, the mean bitchy girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The meanest girl
The meanest
in the world.
girl who's ever existed. The whole time we were watching it, I just kept looking at my husband being like, this woman is so mean.
I know.
Like, unnecessarily.
Even in the context of, like, a 90s movie world with, like, a mean character, I was like, oh my God.
She would make Regina George blush. Like, she's that mean.
But that was also very of the 90s. You had to have that bitch.
Did you not gasp when, for no reason, Jon Stewart showed up?
Yeah.
Oh, and Salma Hayek.
I was like, what?
Salma Hayek being so gross. Like, sick.
It's so good.
And
yeah, Jon Stewart.
Famke Jensen.
Yep.
Famke Jensen,
Thank you.
is like, the way that you feel about Robert Patrick, where you thought he was
also kinda
so
feel about her,
hot
too.
in his heyday, which he is in here.
He is.
He is in his heyday here.
I agree.
That's how I
have
feel
a
about
note.
Famke Jensen.
I mean, she's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in love with her since the first X-Men movie.
I have a note that I wrote
And
for this movie.
Alan
Nine.
Beal.
Yeah, where I was like, it's Hollywood. Like, we're used to seeing, like, a bombshell actor, like, be mousy. And I'm like, but Famke Janssen in her scene where she, like... I'm like, this is really pushing it, even by Hollywood standards.
Even by Hollywood
I'm
standards,
like, right.
You can make her slouch, put ill-fitting clothes on her, give her
Make her
big
soft-spoken.
glasses, make her soft-spoken, give her shitty hair.
She still
No
looks
one's
like
buying
Famke
it.
Janssen.
She still looks like Famke Janssen. And by the end, when she's... Spoiler alert for a movie from 98 or whatever. When she's, like, really hot... And she's having this, like, scene with Josh Hartnett, I'm like, all anyone would be thinking is, wow, that's the hottest person I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Yes.
just, like, there's nothing else you can even, like, hear her say when she's, like, done up the way she is by the end.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this super stacked.
And also, Danny Masterson, who's in
Yep,
prison where he belongs.
Prison Zone Danny Masterson.
When he showed up, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That's the guy from the pedophilia, right?
Yeah.
And that's the second time I saw him in something this week, because I also, Redacted had me watch Face Off after talking about Nick Cage.
Why do you keep forgetting Nicolas Cage's name?
I don't know. But, Danny Masterson was in that too.
Sorry, that's the name of Nicolas Cage in Face Off.
Yeah.
It's important that I keep those things in my head.
Which was a really good movie. I was surprised. But,
Face Off rules.
but I was like, why is Danny Masterson showing up so much in my life this week?
He was an actor.
Yeah. He was, and now he's a prisoner.
Another notable actor who shows up in this movie, Piper Laurie, who was huge in the 50s, retired from acting in like 65, unretired to be Carrie's mom in the original Carrie. She's Margaret
great
White.
in this too.
She's also in Twin Peaks, so she's just like done a ton of stuff. And she plays the drama teacher.
Yeah.
In this, and I was like, oh my God, Piper Laurie. Shit.
But they also do the mousy to hot. They do the mousy to hot thing with like everyone. In this. But with
except
her,
Phoebe Newworth, who like is already hot.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that the
Principal?
Oh, I skipped over it because I immediately yelled Lilith because Cheers and Frasier, because I love Frasier, and if you listen to the last episode, I mentioned my redacted dog named Roz, named after a Frasier character.
Yeah. So yeah, just like the first almost like 30 minutes of this movie you're almost just like can't even pay attention to what's happening because you're just swept up in like, oh my God, cavalcade of stars, none of whom you would expect to see in a movie together. Like it makes sense in 1998, but it's weird at any other time. You're like, why is Jon Stewart in this?
There are still people like Jon Stewart and Usher, I would say, are the ones that are like
so funny,
very bizarre.
I agree.
That they're in this. Like Salma Hayek makes sense because of Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like there's that Robert Rodriguez connection. Famke Jensen was probably at her height because she was a Bond girl around this time.
It was maybe right before
X-Men.
Yeah.
So she wasn't like too big of a get. Jon Stewart is just very bizarre to be in this. Elijah Wood, it's before he got really big, and then he's later in Sin City.
Yeah. Didn't he audition for Lord of the Rings while on set for the faculty?
Oh, I didn't know that. That's so funny. He's such a little baby.
I know.
He's a little face in this.
Well, everyone's such a little baby.
Everyone's
Usher's like 18. Josh Hartnett's like 18. Like they're just such little babies.
I mean, I think even like the adults in this movie are roughly like our age now.
That's true.
I just don't like to think of that.
So rude.
You're right.
Not Piper Laurie. There you go. There's one who's probably older than us.
Yeah, what an old bitch.
But yeah, so thank you for telling me specifically not to go on IMDb.
You want to hear something funny? I forgot Robert Patrick was in this. So when I started rewatching it, and he's like one of the first people you see, I like kind of squealed and I was like, oh, this is even better for Sam. Because Sam has like a Robert Patrick, specifically T2.
Yeah.
Love that. We know this about her.
Yes.
I must have
we love it about you.
We do.
Like, it's something that you should
cherish
never be ashamed of it. It's such a weird and great choice that, and it's all yours, and it's great. And honestly,
But he's really hot in this movie to me.
Yes.
so good in this movie.
He is.
He is so good in this movie. Like, there's a lot of the characters that you could recast in this, but like, it would hurt to lose him in the football coach role for this because he's so perfect. He's so intense.
He is.
Yes.
He's good at playing a robot / pod person.
I guess it's what I like. I don't know.
You love a robot / pod person.
Even though I'm so scared of robots.
Have I gotten you to watch the later seasons of X-Files yet that he's in?
No.
You should.
I really need to.
And he's in Peacemaker, which I like.
Yeah.
He is. That's not what I'm
He's
attracted
not
I was going to
hot.
say he's
See that
not
one?
hot in
But-
Peacemaker.
But I don't know. When I'm that age, maybe it'll be perfection for me. I don't know.
Well, he's a literal Klansman in that, so
Oh, I forgot.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I meant of the actor age himself, not the character.
Right.
But can we? Oh, I guess I should say
Yeah.
I grew up watching this a lot, and then just for whatever reason, did not remember most of this movie. I remembered the stuff that happened in the pool scene. I remember that whole thing. I remember the thing scene, except I forgot that they are doing meth.
Like my own personal brand of
Meth.
Yeah. So, Sam, what did you think of the movie apart from the cast?
Oh, I had a good time. Are we supposed to know from the beginning that it's Mary Beth? Because as soon as she got introduced, I was like, that's it.
No.
Whatever's happening is
No.
happening with her.
But I think
literally-
I had a feeling that you would clock it
Yeah.
right away.
I've seen the
didn't,
movie
but-
and literally forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, because it was so, okay. Actually, I had a great time because I love the mystery of who's the queen?
Yeah.
Who is she? And the whole time I'm like, she's with you the whole fucking time. She's allergic, whatever. But yeah, I thought it was fun. Like, I normally am like leisurely on my couch when I'm watching things, and I was focused and on my yoga ball and like bouncing along and just like so happy watching this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And I'm so proud of myself for getting Mary Beth immediately. Because I've, like, when I met y'all, both of you, I was the new kid, or one of the new kids, mixed up for being a senior transplanted from New Orleans during
Oh,
Katrina.
yeah, I forgot when you assimilated all of us at school.
Yes, that's when that happened.
Thank God we had meth.
You're welcome.
Yeah. What Sam was saying is during our freshman year of high school, it was just post Katrina, and there were all of these people who came to our school who were not my quote, but one of our teachers referred to them as refugees. To their face pretty often. And they all happened to be white. They were all white, wealthy people who went to our fancy private school for like the year. And it just so happened to be the same year Sam came in as a normal, non-refugee, just normal kid.
And also freshmen.
I did
And a
take the
freshman.
bus.
That's big refugee energy.
The kids of our year thought I was a senior or whatever. I was not part of it. They thought I was newly, and I was like, I've been here a month. I'm big, and I'm black, and I'm here.
And I am not from New
Get used to
Orleans.
it. And I'm not from New Orleans. And I hadn't been there, whatever. What was I even talking about?
You're Mary Lou.
Oh, Mary Lou. Oh, yeah.
Mary Beth.
Thank you. Mary Beth.
Whatever. I am always happy about this about myself, as I do not try to guess. Like,
I love
I
guessing.
normally don't
I
either.
really try not to. I allow it. To me, it would just be like maddening. And there are some movies where we talked about this in our last episode, The Quiet Place, day whatever, part 3.
So I like
Day 2.
guessed exactly how it was going to end. And that was frustrating for me because I'm not that person who likes to think about that. And I normally don't get it. And I normally am surprised by
I thought it
a
was
twist or a villain reveal.
I thought it was Piper Laurie's character in this. Even though I have seen this movie before, I just could not remember it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad about myself because I enjoy to be like surprised and just enjoy the movie as it goes.
I'm happy you got what you needed, and I'm very happy I got what I needed.
Is it
which
very
to be
satisfying
right.
for you to be right?
Yes, it is. It really is.
And you're quite good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And luckily, my husband doesn't get annoyed because I'm like, see, this is why. And that's why. She just did this. And then I'm like, are you impressed? And he always knows the answer is yes.
Do you get really frustrated at movies where the twist at the end you never could have guessed?
No, I love that. That's what I want. I do not want to guess it. I do not want to be correct at all. I want to be so surprised. I want to be so surprised.
So the feeling like self-satisfied with guessing it right is just the silver lining, but it's not what you want. You want to be surprised.
I still had fun, but really, no, that's like a movie I like respect. I'm like, oh, I had no fucking
No, I don't
idea.
mean that. I mean where you could never guess it because it's so stupid.
Oh.
I'm talking
no,
about
I
like,
don't like that.
Yeah, because I was thinking about, what was that movie? Like The Perfect Stranger, the one with like Halle Berry and Bruce Willis, where it's like her all along and you never could have guessed it
I
because there
saw
were no
it, but
clues.
I don't even remember.
Like, Brett, don't you have some thoughts on Halle Berry movies? Was that you I heard about
Yes.
recently? I heard from recently on it.
Oh yeah, well we were watching trailers in the theater, and I was like, I don't remember what the movie was, but
She's
it
in a
was some movie
something?
with Halle Berry, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna be bad.
Because Halle
Because
Berry's
Halle
in it.
Berry's old, and that's not against her acting. I'm just saying she's like only in bad movies. And then there was a trailer for that It Ends With Us with Blake Lively, and I was like,
Yeah.
another one who's only in bad movies. Blake Lively is only in bad movies.
I don't think I can name a single movie I've seen her in.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Oh well,
I thought that was
Yeah.
okay, right?
I
The
mean
first
more
one?
of like her adult career.
Oh.
But yeah, just certain
Yeah.
actors where I'm like, it's not even about their talent. They're just only, I guess maybe their agent's talent because they're only in bad
I mean,
movies.
Halle Berry has been in good movies.
She has.
But not anymore. But okay, can we talk about the beginning of this movie?
Yes.
Because this movie opens like RoboCop 2. That's like what I was thinking of, is you start out and you're going into this high school. There's sort of the cold open with the football coach, right? But then you're seeing just like the characters, you're getting these like silly, cheesy, like with their names across the screen, like the screen, like introducing each character as they're going to this high school. And it is just the shittiest high school. It's so run down. And then it's like all these characters are just like beating the shit out of each other. Elijah Wood is getting
They ram
tortured.
Elijah Wood's crotch into a
They
flagpole.
ram Elijah's Wood. Into,
Yeah,
so you just said.
I was like, should we acknowledge that?
We must.
That was intentional.
They're torturing Elijah Wood. There's this the mean girl is roaming around just being the meanest person on the planet.
They're
Like,
openly buying and selling drugs, like not subtly, like here's my cash that I'm handing you on the quad.
Yeah.
and it just gets like worse and worse. It's just like to me, a very funny sort of over the top, like almost like a Beau is Afraid or like a RoboCop, where it's like this is the chaotic descent into madness, which is funny in and of itself, but is so important to the movie's
Yes.
plot.
It's heightened to the point of satire so that there's a contrast for when people start to get assimilated by this like alien. It's not a hive mind
No.
because they have to communicate verbally with each other.
Well, and if you believe the aliens, which I kind of do, they're like just basically zanned out a bit, right? Like they're
Yeah.
just sort of chilled out. All their negative emotions and fears and stuff are quelled when they become pod people.
Yeah, everyone's a lot nicer and a lot better behaved.
And a lot hotter, which is super important.
Yeah, because Stan, who we didn't talk about, one of the few non-famouses in the cast.
Oh, the football player?
Yeah, who's really good. That's the
Yeah,
thing,
he's
because
great.
he and the girl who play Mary Beth are, at least I'm not familiar with their work outside of this movie, but both excellent. Like, definitely hold their own. I like both of their characters.
For a cast with for a horror movie with a cast with so many young actors in it, it is kind of a marvel at how good all of their performances are.
That's true.
It was great.
Yeah, but yeah, so Stan, one of the reason he's suspicious of the coach is because he goes to quit football, and the coach is nice, which is unheard of, and he also says, hold on, I wrote it down because I loved this. Oh yeah, he's like, oh coach, like, aren't you mad at me or whatever? And the coach says, you seem to be going through some life-defining turning point, and I'm not going to stand in the way of the human condition. Which is great, but also he's an alien who is trying to stand in the way of
Yeah.
the human condition.
Like literally.
Yes. And I just thought that was so such a funny moment. And then he was like, yeah, something's fucked up. That coach was nice. So you know there's something wrong.
He's also just like the meanest coach, and he's such a dick even when he's an alien.
Yes.
And that's another funny thing about the aliens. So for those of you who haven't seen it, the basic plot is that the school is being taken over by like bug aliens that go into
These
your
water
orifice.
parasites.
They're water parasites. They live in people because we're mostly water. There's some funny science in this movie. Funny gobbledygook science explanations
But
of
it's
things.
so perfect.
But it doesn't
like,
matter. It's very funny.
And it's
It all
simple and
makes sense.
believable enough that it's easy to track at least.
You just sort of nod, even though you're like, I don't know about that. Caffeine, it's diuretic, whatever. It's fine. But like
Brilliant.
the aliens want to live inside people. They're parasites, but it's kind of like symbiotic in the sense that if you survive getting turned, then you're basically like happy, whatever. But that is even a lie, because even when they become pod people and they like kill someone they hated, they're like, I always wanted to do that.
I had that note as well.
And it's like, you know, if you were really peaceful and like not like that at all, you wouldn't still have those like grudges.
And then it made me wonder how much of their individuality do they maintain from their previous selves? Because it's like, I always wanted to do that. Is that Robert Patrick's, like, the coach saying that? Or is that what the alien thinks he would say? You know, I just like, it kind of seemed to me like they do retain
I think
some
they
of their
retain.
individuality. And they're not themselves, but yeah, they're almost zanned out, more cooperative,
Yeah, they're
peaceful versions of themselves.
Maybe the aliens are going off feelings, like not necessarily specific memories, but like I know that my body does not like this person, and that was
makes sense.
satisfying.
Well, and I would say there is something that I read is almost genuinely altruistic but misguided in the aliens' intentions because of how we see Mary Beth trying to improve things. She is playing matchmaker with Clea Duvall and Stan. She tries to kind of help people, and the aliens are saying that they want to make everyone better. And the high school is much more orderly and nice after the aliens take over.
The aliens don't like individuals; they want community.
well.
Yeah.
I also
It reminded me of Midsummer.
Yeah,
a lot.
And like Midsommar, I think it's the same in that the alien is both earnest in her goal. She comes into this RoboCop 2 school where it's horrible. All the teachers hate each other. They're drunks. The school nurse is like sick, but she's
Oh, no, that's so funny because she's like, oh, I'm so sick this cold. And I think Jon Stewart's like,
You should
why don't
go
you go
home."
home? And she's like, oh, no, I'm saving my sick days for when I feel better.
yeah.
I love it.
And like the school, all the funding goes to the football team.
Well, that's like the first scene is like there's a cold open with the
Yeah.
footballers and Robert Patrick throws a fit and then gets assimilated. And then it's a scene with the principal talking to the teachers and she's letting them know how all of their budget requests have been denied. You can't go on that field trip. You can't have new computers.
No guys and dolls.
No guys and dolls. Okay, maybe if you use last year's set from Our Town,
That made me laugh.
which is so funny because Our Town famously does not have a set. That's like the point of the show is that there is no set.
That's funny. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
so it's really funny.
And even the principal is, because they all are mad at the principal, but she's like clearly also pissed.
Yes, she's
Like-
like, I regretfully.
Like the
Have
board
to.
or like the school board or whatever just wants us to have a football team, and they'll get their jock straps, they'll
Yeah.
get their padding, they'll get whatever they want.
Because that's what the parents of this town want.
Yes, because they're in a small town in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that matters there is the football team. In Texas, similar vibes,
Yeah.
some of the high schools here.
Friday Night Lights.
And it is. So it's just, so she basically also gets assimilated in a great horror sequence.
Yeah, this scene is really good. It kind of almost screams / I know what you did last summer-esque.
When I saw who the writer was, I was like, okay, like that makes sense. The sort of satirical, but also very functional within the genre.
Mm-hmm.
I do love I'm running for help. Oh, you're gonna help me? Surprise.
Yeah, because she has to go back inside the school because she forgot She forgot her keys. She's cornered in her office by Robert Patrick, who's being so scary.
Well, she thinks he's being like a horny creep.
She thinks
Yeah.
he's drunk and
Horny.
trying to, yeah. And he's like, I need a pencil. And she says, you don't need a pencil, coach. You need a good night's sleep. And then he gets a pencil, and then he stabs it through her hand.
And it's like, I always wanted to do that.
She gets away, but the door is padlocked shut. So she has to run around for a bit. She ends up getting back to the office. but he's at the end of the hallway.
And Piper Laurie's like,
Everyone's like, oh, he's there.
Here,
Look out. So she's fumbling with the keys trying to unlock the padlock while he's T-1000 like running.
He does the T-1000
Yeah, he does
run,
it.
which he does so well.
He does.
He does.
So we do get that moment of him running down the hallway. She just makes it out. She's finally safe. She's like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then Piper Laurie just stabs her.
And also says, I always wanted to do that. Which to me, I do believe that they retain all of their memories and that they are just collectivized, but are still kind of their shitty human selves within it. And there's sort of this veneer. So like, I think that the alien both is earnest in her desire to bring peace because all she has seen is the worst, most fucked up school. And if that's your first like experience, because the idea is that like we're assuming this is like her ground zero, is that she shows up as an alien, assimilates, I guess it would be probably the Piper Laurie and the coach.
Yeah.
We don't know which one is first. But I also think she has, like Midsommar, like her need to survive. She wants to convince herself as well that
Sure.
she's doing the right thing. So she is not fully altruistic, but she thinks it also kind of reminds me of the movie Slither that I love, where the alien is like, no, I am the best.
Yeah. Also, spoilers for Peacemaker season 1. It's very, very similar
Well,
to that.
okay,
It's
so
like,
Peacemaker season 1 is also James Gunn, who did Slither, which I just
Yes.
mentioned.
Oh.
And when I saw Peacemaker season 1, I'm a huge Slither fan. Like, I just love the movie Slither. It's like one of my
We'll
faves.
get to it.
Someday we'll do Slither. I was like, oh, James Gunn is famouser now and like actually mainstream, and he just wanted to make Slither again.
And I'm glad he did.
Because it's basically Slither again,
Yes.
and I love them
Oh.
both. It's a very simple premise, and basically we have our cast of high school cliches.
Yes.
So we have Elijah Wood is the kid who shops at Costco. He's wearing just like the most like CVS jeans on the planet, and
Yeah.
he's just the nerdy bullied
so
kid.
And he basically asks the mean girl, like, why are you always ragging on me? And she's like, it's your lot in life.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what she tells him. She's
He's
just like,
like-
that's just who you are. You're the victim of bullies.
I love how it's not, this is who I am. This is
This is who you are. Yeah.
And also, every character is also an asshole and flawed
Yeah.
because Elijah Wood's character like sniffs her and he has creepy pictures of
I
her in his
know.
house. So like none of them are like fully good. Because then you have a weird goth girl who is
Stokely,
Stokely. Yeah.
Stokely,
played by Clea Duvall.
Clea Duvall, who
Love her.
Love her. Yeah, we
love,
have
love
to
her.
stand Clea Duvall.
We must.
And I really like the Stokely character.
and this did it before Mean Girls did it, where there was like a rumor about her being lesbian, and she sort of leaned into it because it makes people leave her alone.
Yeah.
She's like the loner goth type girl.
Which is why the queen is hanging out with her, to be like, you're going to be the most difficult one to assimilate.
I did think about that. She like was seeking out, because our sort of group of ragtag heroes are the most kind of
difficult.
and yeah, I think she clocked them as like, oh, Josh Hartnett's like a genius chemist for some reason.
You guys are so much more cynical about her than me, because for me, I just think that she's talking to the people she thinks are interesting. Like she
Well,
likes them.
well,
I think she genuinely likes them and
I
wants
think it's
to.
both, because I think they're the ones with the most individuality and the strongest personalities. So like, they are not going to conform as easily as other people. But also, she is interested in that. But
Because if
she wants to temper it.
If she just wanted to get them alone, she could much easier do that. I think she genuinely was like trying to get to know them.
I do think she's genuinely interested.
And we see
But-
her because she's coming in like new girl, first day at school, and she's introducing herself to all of our characters. So we're getting to meet them. And there's like football player guy, which is Stan, and he wants to quit the football team, and he wants to like just be smart. And
It's actually really sweet, because he tells a story about how he got a D on a test, and the teacher like bumped up his grade because his football playing was too important. And Stan was like, but that was my D. I earned it, and I don't want to be treated differently or held to different standards because
That's
of
so
football.
sweet.
Like, I want to study and like make the grades that I deserve.
And he's like,
And I'm like, that is so sweet.
it's so sweet. And he's sort of dating the mean girl. And I say sort of dating because like every single time they talked, I was like, why are you still with her?
I think it was,
well, because it's what you do.
That's what she was supposed to do.
And
yeah,
that's what she says out loud. She goes, this is like, she's like, I date the star football player.
Right, she's like, I'm the head cheerleader, so I date the star football player. And I'm, as like editor of the newspaper, like, that's the social order.
We have our high school roles.
And I do like that she does the newspaper with Elijah Wood, so it gives reason for them to have a rapport, because I do like their relationship is really fun.
Yeah.
Because he's creepy at her, but also, like, is maybe one of the only people who really, like, stands up to her and she actually listens.
That's true. And she definitely likes the attention from him.
Yeah.
Because she even knows that he's, like, creeping on her, and she's like...
He sniffs her, and she clocks it and is like, haha.
Yeah. She's like, I do smell wonderful.
Like, thank you for noticing while we're hiding in this closet. The stupidest, funniest character is Josh Hartnett with his horrible haircut.
The worst haircut.
His name is Zeke, and he is a kind of kid. We had one in our grade at our school who's like the smartest kid in the grade who does not try, does not care. But it's, again, elevated to a point where it's ridiculous. Like, he's
like
smarter
this prodigy, like chemistry,
he's smarter
biology.
than every teacher. He has a full chemistry set in his, like, house, garage.
Because his parents are always traveling.
Presumably as, like, dignitaries or some shit.
Yeah, something. And they just don't. So he basically is
range.
unparented. Yeah, he's fully free range and has been.
And we meet him. He's, like, selling drugs on the school campus. And in the form of, like, pens?
Yeah, it's pens that are filled with powder. So each pen, you take out the ink. Yeah, take out the ink cartridge, and then you unscrew the bottom part, and you just sniff the powder, and that's one hit of scat, they call it.
Which is so great.
Got any more of that scat?
Scat means poopy.
It does.
And also...
It does.
Do it.
Yeah.
Scat on command.
I'm a little worried for Redacted at school because my child's going to be scatting in public. The verbal, not the poopy.
We'll let this movie be a
both.
cautionary
Or the drug.
tale.
Not the drug. But yeah, are we ready for an ad?
Yeah, on the note of scat.
On the note of scat, this ad is not about scat.
Oh.
Well, what is it
then
about?
never mind.
This ad... Okay, bye. Those who don't want this ad because it's not about scat. Pretty simple. Just go watch some 90s movies. This movie just got me in the mood to watch Girl Interrupted, Debs, But I'm a Cheerleader, She's All That. Girl Interrupted because of Clea Duvall. Debs, But I'm a Cheerleader, She's All That's more fun. She's All That, the vibe for just famous people popping up.
Famous people getting glasses
Yes.
and suddenly being considered ugly.
Transforming. Wait. No, removing glasses and then transforming. Sorry. Yeah, that's it. This ad is just go enjoy the fun parts of the 90s, not the shitty parts.
So the 90s movies are sponsoring this episode?
Correct.
That's so nice of them.
That's it. And there's no code. Just go watch them.
Great.
For free?
Everything. Yeah, for free.
Welcome back, everyone. Hope you spent the break watching a whole bunch of 90s movies. Comment below what movies you watched and if you liked them.
I watched every movie I listed.
Okay, save it for the fucking comments. Sam, what did I just say?
If you have never seen The Thing, which I would assume a lot of people, well, not just you, Sam, but like when this movie came out and like people were watching this movie, like I think there's a lot of people that would have not known how much this leans into The Thing.
And how they literally remake The Thing's most famous scene in this movie. So The Thing has a famous scene where they do a blood test. They've devised a test to find out which of the people at the research station have been assimilated by The Thing. And it's basically just, it reacts to heat. So they can just like basically burn your blood and then it reveals if the blood reacts.
When you're part of The Thing, every part of you is alive as part of that entity. So your blood will react to pain.
Right, because it is not blood anymore. It's the thing.
It's part of the thing. It just looks like blood.
Yes.
So there is a famous scene where everybody is basically tied up, and one by one they test the blood, and then those people are no longer tied up. And then there's a shocking, we'll have a Thing episode.
Yeah, we sure will.
Of course we will. It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's amazing.
It is so good. And there's a scene in this that's very similar to that, but instead of testing the blood, because that's not how the alien in this works. The alien in this is a water parasite that reacts to a diuretic, which just so happens to be Zeke's
Scat.
They go to the science classroom where they've all kind of come together and are talking about what's happening. Because
And some of them think that it's aliens. Some of them are like, obviously it's not aliens.
some of them have already been assimilated.
Yes.
At that point,
As
I
it
think
turns
one of
out,
them already
I
has.
think so. And they are interrupted by Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart comes in.
The science teacher, and he's like, what are you kids talking about? And Zeke's like, these guys, or Casey here, thinks that you're an alien and that they've taken over the school. And he just like walks to the door and pulls down the shade. He's like, all right, everybody sit down. This will be over quickly. And they're like, wait, oh, I was kidding.
I also love just like in that scene how quickly all the students are ready to just murder this teacher. It's so funny.
I also love it because
They've always wanted to do that.
there's one of those paper cutters with the big blade that swings.
Immediately,
Yep.
he just
Yes.
goes over and
Zeke
rips it off.
Rips it off and cuts off Jon Stewart's fingers with it, and each of the fingers scuttle away, which is very much like the thing.
And
as well.
also, I will say, does not make sense for this alien.
No.
No.
But it's fine and it's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
And also it lets us know that this can happen for future events
Yes.
where they're a little weirder than fingers.
Yes,
Yes.
that's true. Another big
The Thing
reference
ripoff.
later. Yep. But then I don't remember who it was. Was it Zeke or Casey?
It's either Zeke,
It's
Casey,
or maybe
Stan.
One of the
them.
boys stabs
The boys.
Jon Stewart in the eye with the pen that,
That
has the
happens
drugs
to
in it.
have the scat in it.
And he just like dissolves basically. He like dries up and withers and
It's very funny because I think the only people who die in the movie are the people who get scattered.
yes.
Basically, as long as the parasite was in them and the body was fine, I mean, spoilers, but when Queen dies, then they're all dead. But
Which is unlike a lot of other movies of this type. And I think that it's because it's teenagers.
yeah.
Maybe they wanted it to be a little bit more lighthearted where you could assimilate more and more of the teenagers of your main cast and still have them survive the movie.
I thought it was a good choice
I
for
liked
this type
it.
of movie. Yeah, I liked
And
it.
it doesn't need to make sense. It's the faculty.
We
Yes.
accepted it.
But yeah, so that's when they learned that the drugs can kill the aliens.
So they want to go get more of it.
Right. So, first they're like, we just need to get the fuck out of here. And there's a great scene where they're walking through the halls, through the like parking lot to get to Zeke's car to leave.
And
But
everyone's
it's
just looking at them.
And it's a really long scene, but it's so tense. Like it maintains great tension the whole time because it's just endless shots of like suspicious looks and like everyone's just staring at them as they walk by. And our main cast are getting so creeped out.
And this whole time, there
It's
have
really
been
effective.
the teachers basically all got first.
Yes.
And then they're starting to just call in every student into the nurse's office.
And in order of influence in the social hierarchy, because Usher is now the football team captain and he's one of the first to get called in. And they hypothesize that it's like, oh, they're going after the people like of the highest social status first to
Yeah.
assimilate. And it makes sense because Jordana Brewster has already been assimilated and she's head cheerleader and editor-in-chief.
But it's also funny because the scene where they're fighting Jon Stewart, there are 3 aliens in that room and they just don't help him.
I did think about that.
It's just
Yeah.
funny. It doesn't need to make too much sense.
Well, there's another theory that I saw somewhere that actually Jordana Brewster gets assimilated in that scene. That while they're dealing with Jon Stewart, it's just Mary Beth and Delilah like behind the counter. And maybe that's when she got
I
her.
like that.
Which kind of makes more sense in terms of why they don't just overpower the non-aliens. So maybe that's when it was.
I also think that Mary Beth is just kind of, I don't know, chaotic and like having a good time.
Me too. She's vibing. It's kind of funny because her henchmen are seem way more dedicated to the cause, and she's just kind of
Yeah.
interested. Like she wants to learn. And at one point later on, she says, like, "Ugh, I wish I'd never come here." And I kind of believe her.
Yeah.
I think she means, like, as me as the alien queen, it's just like, this has been so much work, and like so many of my species have died at this point already, and like it's in such a hassle. I don't even know if we're gonna win.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone's mean here. I kind of believe her that she.
I believe her. I think when she's talking to them, yes, there are times where she's obviously lying when she's like, but she's not even when she says like I'm allergic to these medicines, she might just as the alien.
She was CYAing. I mean, it's true,
She
but she was
literally
also
is.
like, I'm letting you know now.
Yeah.
So when I say it again later. Yeah.
Wait,
Like
I
the
just
moment
heard-
she said that, I was like, that's interesting.
I just thought of something.
Oh.
She's from Atlanta. I don't know. Maybe she's like a CDC thing. I don't know.
Oh. Could be.
Sam's looking at me like I'm such a fucking idiot.
When I'm like, because we were just talking about The Stand over
Yeah.
our break, so I'm like, ooh.
Well, because we don't know
maybe.
where the aliens come from in this. They never
That's true.
say like she's never like when I got off my spaceship that first day on the football field. Like we don't know.
I wish she had.
That would have been great. But anyway, so our point is they all end up in Zeke's chemistry drug
Garage.
His home
Lots of
brew.
test
His lab.
tubes, lots of beakers. He's got a rat.
He does.
Oscar the rat.
He does, which has a bad time.
Yeah, I don't feel like he's a very responsible rat owner.
No.
Something about that scene tells me.
You just got a subtle hint that
Yeah.
maybe
That was
he's not a good rat parent.
not his first dissection.
But yeah, no, he's science man in
Yes.
this.
So what is it? They feed the rat part of the parasite.
No,
Is that what happens?
they put a little piece of the parasite into the rat's
Right.
cage, and it like
It's-
attacks the rat.
Okay.
The thing.
Oh, you're right.
Got
It
it.
gets its tendrils out.
It gets tendrils, and it like goes into the rat, and then the rat's like immediately better, and
Yes.
then
And then Zeke just reaches in and snaps its neck and says, "Sorry, buddy."
and then the next scene is him like dissecting it. It's just so.
But it's also funny because like it's not just a scalpel and dice. It's like he's got the
Yeah.
tools to like pin open the like skin, and he's got all these tools. And I'm like,
It's ridiculous.
why does he have that set up? And I guess as a result of that, he realizes that it's incomplete. It's actually a part of a greater whole.
And
None
that's
of this
when
makes sense at
and
all.
that's why we kept laughing.
Science.
As he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's a water parasite," and we're just like laughing because
Yes.
it's so ridiculous.
I think that's the only time I actually tuned out, and I was like, I should be paying attention, but I'm like, okay, here's the BS. That's
no, if
like,
anything, that's when you shouldn't.
It
be
doesn't
paying
okay,
matter.
attention.
good. I was
Yeah.
like, I know we're getting to making
No,
this
no.
logical, blah 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 blah, but it's
they're kind of explaining it, but all you really have to glean is it does not like the scat. They could just drink a cup of coffee, but instead they all do meth or scat.
It's just simpler. It's cleaner. You know.
It
I
was
mean-
right there.
Right, like it's right
available.
there. Is there a coffee maker right there?
No, this
So-
is not Nightmare on Elm Street
Where she's a coffee maker under her bed.
in her closet.
Yeah. So one
Can't
by
be
one,
fire safe.
one
Sorry.
by one, they are all forced to take the scat to do a big snort.
And that's the scene that's a direct ripoff of The Thing.
The high school is such a perfect setting for this type of story because it's all about conformity versus individuality and fitting in and discovering your own identity versus going along to get along.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it
And-
just like works. It's actually such weirdly elegant marriage of like content to theme.
And I also love how much of the movie takes place in the high school.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of it does, but the vast majority of the movie does take place in the high
Yeah,
school.
they're in
And
the
they
faculty lounge. They're in the gym. They're in
Parking lot.
Yeah,
the natatorium that the shitty high school has for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In the football field.
The
Yes,
football
they're in the football
field.
field.
It's all utilized, which and the different classrooms. I think it's just
which is
the
nice
parking
because
lot,
it's so frustrating to see a movie that doesn't take advantage of its setting,
especially when
and
the
this one really does.
and especially when the setting is important to it. Like
Yes.
I just think it was very charming to see how much they utilize the idea of like high school sucks and it's such a disgusting high school too. It's like so dirty and the bathrooms are nasty and it's great.
Yeah,
It's just so great that because it's perfect for this like alien to see the problem,
yeah.
right? Like
I
she
thought you were gonna say it's perfect for Ohio, which is where it is.
I think it's funny. It's funny that it's Ohio.
I agree.
Like, it's funny that it's like clearly some shitty town
Yeah.
in Ohio where the only thing to do is go to the football game. Everything else has been neglected. Everyone's miserable. Everyone's mean.
Yeah.
Ohio. Okay, wait. Can we jump ahead? Because you mentioned conformity versus individuality.
Yes.
So this is something where, while we were watching the movie, I was thinking about a movie. Maybe a hot take. Look, we're millennials. We're not Gen X. So I actually don't like the movie The Breakfast Club.
I thought you were going to say The Breakfast Club.
Because it reminds me a lot of The Breakfast Club. Because you have the sort of archetypal students have to work together. And one of the scenes in movie history that I most dislike is at the end of The Breakfast Club when the weird girl is like preppy and there's like, Brett's rolling his eyes. That's how I feel, where it's like, wow, what a big like glow down.
Yes, truly.
Like she's so like charming when she's all weird. And then at the end of the movie, it's played off as like a great arc for her when she just accepts that she can be pretty too.
Boy,
I hate it. I literally hate it.
That movie.
And I was like, so I was watching this with my husband, who's also grew up watching this movie a lot, but remembered it a lot better than I did. And he's
I don't
like,
believe it.
well, yeah, my memory, not good. I do remember the name of Nicolas Cage's character in any given movie he's in, but I do not remember.
You remember the important things.
I don't remember unimportant things, like the plots of movies I've seen a lot of times. And I was like, man, I hated that part in The Breakfast Club where they did that. And he looked at me, he's like, I have bad news for you for this movie. Because let's just skip ahead to the end real quick for this. The end scene where it's like the arc for every character has come to its conclusion.
Like
and
they've defeated the alien.
They've defeated the alien queen. And you now have this sort of like happy epilogue. And it's so funny because like some things are resolved, but it's like Elijah Wood and the mean girl are now together because he is like the hero. And so she can use him. And he knows that. And they just have like such a like influencer couple sort of like disgusting but like totally works relationship.
Yeah.
Right? Where she's like, oh, there's the press. Let's get you out in front of them. And they're just like disgusting like evil power couple.
Makes
and
sense.
that's their happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
And then the football player has quit the football team and ends up with the weird girl who is now wearing normal clothes, which that was like, oh no, but it's kind of perfect because this movie is not, this movie is very cynical.
Yes.
Right? And so it's like funny that she kind of ends up in like a bad place for her. And then like Zeke's happy ending is that he ends up on the football team.
Yeah.
It's like so.
And dating the teacher.
And dating the teacher, which again is disgusting groomer shit. Like that's pedo-y. Like it's not a happy ending. But for this movie, because this movie's so heightened and surreal, and this was the 90s.
Yeah.
Like that's the happy ending is that he's dating the teacher. He's on the football team now. The football player is like the smart boy dating Stokely, who's now a popular girl. Elijah Wood is now popular dating the popular girl. And that's your happy ending. And it's so not happy because it's like they're all just bad again, but that's like also the happy ending because that's humanity, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I just love how it ended like on such a sort of like, I would say Gen X sort of like nihilistic, miserable take with the happy music playing, and it's sort of framed that way that it's all like happy and jolly. And you're like, wait, but that's his teacher.
Yeah.
And there's like the people who are dead, like the principal, whatever.
Yeah, I know. It is very cynical, but that's one of the things I like about the movie and that I like about Kevin Williamson's writing in general.
It's like on the nose, but it's also it's funny, it's clever, but it's not earnest. Like we've covered I would say the opposite of that is probably M. Night Shyamalan. He's like so earnest in his movies. He would never have such a snarky.
Oh no, he's not cynical.
He's not cynical like that. Like that's what I love about him. But this movie is just so It's just
Yeah.
so like.
And as a cynic myself, I really appreciate.
But besides the pedo teacher, it kind of felt right for this movie.
Yeah, it did.
Well, even the pedo teacher feels right for this movie.
It
This
does.
this is Ohio, baby.
Yeah.
This is 90s in Ohio. What do you expect?
And they set up all these pairings. It's not like any of these were out of nowhere. This is like, they were hinting at it throughout the whole movie.
I did appreciate that they weren't like saying, oh, it wasn't aliens. It was like Elijah Wood saying it's aliens and we don't know who it was, but it's still in the news.
Oh,
Like, 'cause
yeah.
I feel like some movies like wrap it up and they're like, everything's back to normal. Like, forget whatever. But like, it's like, oh, okay. Elijah Wood's still like shouting it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that part. I
Well,
was a
it's
little
not-
surprised about
There wasn't
that.
a cover up.
But it's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
right.
Thank
It's
you.
not him shouting it out. It's that he is interested in the head of the school newspaper, who the entire movie says
Looking
she's
for her
looking
front
for
page
her
story.
front page
Yeah.
story.
It's
true.
Right,
It is all
okay.
set up, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also really
And
like.
Stokely was was like a closeted football fan because she was like, oh, thanks. Like, he was like, yeah, when we got to the championships. And she's like, oh, thanks to you and that amazing pass or whatever. And he was like, what? Like, you follow the game?
I read it as that she was into him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
guess, yeah.
but she's also knows
Yes.
what happened in all the games.
That's
So,
true.
you know,
She's like in love with the football player, and she's snarking at him, and they're like being mean to each other. But then I love the scene where he's like, I quit the football team, and she just like immediately sits down and is serious and is like, why? And like will listen to him.
yeah.
In the way that his girlfriend did
horrible
not
Delilah was
Yeah.
just like,
did not care, did
was
not.
like, oh, well, then we're through because there's no reason for me to date you. And like, you're not. It's like, oh, but honey, you're not good at studying.
Yeah.
And then he says something and she's like, oh my God, 4 syllables.
So
You're
mean.
well on your way.
She's so mean.
I'm like, oh my God, you were dating this guy 5 seconds ago. That's so mean.
But Elijah Wood is like kind
He's
of the
into it.
perfect for her.
Yeah.
So it is all like wrapped up. And there's the scene where Steve? I don't know what- Stan has been aliened. And he's outside and he's like, let me in, let me in. And he's like talking to Stokely and he's like basically saying everything she's ever wanted to hear. And it just like hurts her because she does not know if it's real. And then it's really nice when you find out that it kind of is, even though she has to literally change herself for him. Or maybe she just was a closeted normie and it was just a phase, man.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like putting up all those walls and stuff can be a defense mechanism of like, oh, well, you don't get to reject me because I reject you first. So I don't think it's that far-fetched that she would kind of want to fit in, but she's afraid she won't do it right. So instead she goes far the other direction. I don't know. It makes sense to me.
Well, as the kid that looked like that in middle school, ouch, you're right.
Can we talk about the climax of the movie? Where they
Let's.
actually fight the big
CGI
alien
monster?
Yeah, although it is an amazing puppet for a couple shots. So they're in the gymnasium. So the reveal, the moment of the reveal, I guess, it's right. Clea Duvall is sitting with Mary Beth because they're on the bleachers. They're like, how do these stories end? Stokely says, we lose. And Mary Beth says, do we? Maybe we really win. And they talk about Stan for a bit. And then Mary Beth says, aren't you tired of being something you're not? I know I am. And then she sucker punches Stokely like off the bleachers. And it is just such a funny, like, rather than like alienifying or whatever, she just punches her. And then she starts like transforming into her true form as the monstrous alien queen.
Yeah.
And that's when like Zeke has run in.
Elijah Wood, not Zeke. Because I know that they go into the natatorium, which, look, you're just running from a giant monster, but maybe going into the room with the giant pool with the water monster is maybe not your best bet.
Yeah, but I feel like
They're just running.
And there are options where like go outside where there's the whole football team somewhere.
Not even just the whole football team. The whole town has been taken over, so they're just kind
You're
of like, this is like the end times, right? Like, everyone else is taken. They do not know who is left. They're down to like their last scats that they have.
Right.
You
Because also throughout, like, we've seen Mary Beth like wasting all the scat they have, like,
Yep.
by accident or like because she's panicking, but really she's just trying to wear down their
Well,
like she dumps it all onto the principal.
and
That's
before
gotta-
that, we didn't mention during the lab scene, like when they're doing the test.
She knocks over everything.
Well,
right?
first they're doing the test of taking the drugs, and that's when what's her face is outed.
Delilah.
Yes,
And she like throws all the equipment on the floor as she's running out.
but it's definitely the two of them planning
Yep.
while what's her face pretends she takes it. And I was like calling it from the beginning. I was like, I am banging
do
this
that.
table. My bad, y'all. I was very excited.
I didn't say anything.
I said it myself.
You did.
It was for emphasis. If you heard banging on this table, it was me because I'm excited that I figured it out.
If you ever hear a banging sound in
It
the
is
background,
Mel, and it is Brett, and it is never me.
we'll let the audience
Yeah. And then she's just wasting the meth everywhere.
vote
actively.
under this video if you think it is Sam, Brett, or Mel who bangs on the table whenever they're trying to emphasize a point.
I'm giving a pause in case they want to shout their answer.
It's Sam. Okay.
Are we Dora the Explorer now?
Yes.
Wait,
But yeah, so she's wasting her meth everywhere and wasting everyone's meth, and the meth's everywhere on purpose.
How much does it suck if you're that principal and you see like the queen just like part of it is just she's just killing you? Well,
Yeah.
you can do it for the queen, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, they
These
care a lot more
monarchists.
about the queen than she does about them.
Yeah, she's willing to kill him.
Question about her transformation, because she's the only one who like transforms.
She's-
Because that's not her. Is it her body? Do we know?
Presumably, she is not a little leech thing.
Because she goes back and forth.
I think she, again, this movie, don't overthink it too much. I don't think that's
Okay.
the point of it.
But
Well,
yes, I think
my
she is not a slug.
That wasn't my actual
Inside of
question.
her,
That was
okay.
like my pre-question. My real question is, do we think it was such a relief transforming back? Like taking
Oh.
your bra off, taking everything off.
That's why
taking
she
your shoes and
punches
socks
Stokely.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it.
Well, because she
That's all I
was
can think
like
of.
sucking in for dear life. 'Cause
Yeah.
in her alien form, she is huge.
So much bigger.
Yeah,
And that's just what I kept thinking. I was like, oh, that must feel so good.
I bet it did.
That's
And
it.
that's what she wants for them.
She
wants them to feel good.
She just wants them to feel good and not be.
And to be hydrated. Is it so
Yeah.
wrong? She wants them in their lane, moisturized.
pool.
In the pool lane.
pool lane.
Hydrated. Yeah. Mary Beth did nothing wrong.
According to her, she did not. And I don't know. Like, I think the pod people sort of question, right? Of like people being replaced and being like better
Yeah.
is.
Sometimes it's more clear because I feel like there are instances where they're just not themselves anymore. They've lost all of their individuality. This one is more gray to me because they do retain at least some of who they were before. And they get to basically live their same lives, but just like people are nicer. So I'm like more of a free will type of person, so I'm not down. But I do find it more like understandable and tempting.
I just thought of something. It's going to be my turn to bring this up. It makes me think
Suspiria?
of... No.
Oh.
I know. I was trying to trick you too. It makes me think of The Host. Stephanie Meyer's The Host.
Oh no.
Where there was like little alien boop in their brain and they were just chatting and just like, I'm not going to do this. And the alien's like, yes, you are. And there's power struggle and stuff. So I'm like, bringing it back to Stephanie Meyer. You're welcome.
This is the skin of the killer, Bill.
But basically, the final showdown is she's picking them off one by one. She's already taken the whole town. She gets Delilah first. Then she gets Stan. And then she gets Stokely. And then Zeke, I don't know if he ever gets got. He just gets like,
I think he gets got by...
On his face a little bit. Wait, wrong person. Never mind.
that was,
Well,
I
'cause
thought
he-
Stokely.
Well, so I think
I was thinking Elijah Wood.
Well, I think the last we see Zeke, he's being attacked in the car by Famke Janssen, and he buckles his seatbelt right before he runs into the
yeah.
bus. She flies through the windshield into the bus that's on fire, and then
She's fine.
And then she's fine.
She's
and I
actually
guess
literally-
he's also fine. And he just doesn't come back until the epilogue, so I don't know.
Well, it's also like kind of crazy because presumably Famke Janssen gets like totally dismembered and then put back together by the alien and then is just a normal human again at the end.
Yes.
Don't worry about it, y'all. It's a fun little movie. Don't think too much about it. So
My take was that, like, if you get put back together, like, the alien powers make your tissue like repair
Regenerate.
itself. But if you get scattered, you just melt and like there's no
Yeah.
coming back.
There's no coming back, I think, from being melted.
Being scattered on.
Once that's unlocked in you,
I guess so.
you just need it.
Ask John McAfee.
Really? No, it wasn't him. It's that guy from Canada. Are you talking about the guy that they
How
did
about
that?
John McAfee who made the antivirus software and likes to get shit on by
I thought it-
prostitutes?
Oh,
through
I
Hammock?
wasn't sure if we were talking about meth or scat.
No, you're talking. No, there's a different guy. That's
There
also
might be another guy.
Because there was. I listened to this whole
fact-checking you
documentary
right now.
about this Canadian clothing guy who had like he would fly women, like young women who were underage, to like his island in I think it was like Bermuda, and then he would like take their passports and he would like control what they ate so they could poop on him better. And he would like have women that like lived in his apartments, and then they would like poop on him. Maybe John McAfee was also
He
like
also
that.
did. I mean,
Well, both
I'm not
of them.
wrong.
We're both right.
Yeah.
Did the timing align? Did John go to that island?
Do your own research, draw your own conclusions.
Billionaire weirdos love being pooped on by their sex workers and or
Sex trafficking victims.
sex trafficking victims.
And we here at Queer and Loathing do not condone that.
Wait, I'm gonna name names. I'm gonna find this guy's name.
I was gonna say figure it out and email us at our email, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to email.
Yeah, I'm good. I already know all I want to know.
Yeah, I'm good.
Peter Nygaard. If you want to learn about a billionaire who liked being pooped on and did human trafficking, look up Peter Nygaard. Brett, do not cut this later. People need to know about Peter Nygaard, the former fashion executive who I believe is in prison to this day.
Yeah.
He liked scat.
Well,
You
I
got
would
it.
never cut this because you were so convinced I was wrong, but I was right. So I would never cut this.
I was gonna say to sprinkle it with gold so it stays in, but he just stated the gold.
Yeah,
So
I already had it.
okay.
So at the very end, how they defeat the alien queen is, so what is it? Stokely is locked in like the equipment cage, right? He like locks her in there in the locker room.
She's been turned because
She's
of the
been
pool.
turned, yes. But, so we just have Casey. It's just Elijah Wood. He's last man standing. He's the only unassimilated person possibly in the whole town. And it's actually a cool little sequence where he runs through the bleachers in the auditorium, but he's like hit the thing to make him start collapsing. So he's running through. The queen is chasing him. It's like giant alien body through these like bleachers. And he manages to leap to safety just as she gets caught, like kind of not crushed to death, but like crushed into place by the bleachers. And then what he'll just like gives her a stabby.
He scats her.
He scats her. So it's all CG until the alien is like trapped at the end of the bleachers. And then it's like this amazing practical puppet that looks really cool. And that's what he actually stabinates. And then the queen is defeated, and there's no more Mary Beth.
And we get our heartwarming, uplifting epilogue.
Happy
Yeah.
ending.
I mean, I just think it's really funny that so many characters are on meth. Because like there's a scene in the climax.
One of my notes is like, is this a pro-drug movie?
Maybe. There's one of the scenes in the climax where Zeke and Elijah Wood run into each other again. And Zeke's like, you have to do it. And he's like, I don't want to do it. And he's like, you have to do it so I know. And he does it. And he's like, oh my God, I see like two of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, imagine you're dealing with this in general. And then you're dealing with it while on presumably something that, if not meth, functions quite a lot like meth.
Yeah. But it's also what keeps them safe and saves the day.
Yeah.
Which I think is very funny that it's like, I'm not saying this is literally pro-drug, but it's
There
definitely
were no
the tool to-
consequences.
right.
Like
Yeah.
it's the way we defeated the aliens.
Yeah.
So
Unlike
We did do that.
Unlike the movie Signs, or they mention it, I think in this movie, War of the Worlds. Is that mentioned in this movie?
Probably.
Maybe not. I watch a lot of shit. But like where both of those aliens are defeated by like Earth being water. And this one, or just like the
Or the virus
the
or-
natural, yeah, in War of the Worlds, it's just like the natural bacteria that's on everything takes them out. In this one, it's like humans' natural inclination to make drugs in your shed.
Yeah.
Saves the day.
And is there a more powerful force than that?
Water? No. Natural bacteria? No. It's a drug that teenagers make that is like the like reactionary fear of adults.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I
was
just think
gonna
it's
say
very funny.
The only possibly more powerful force is gayness.
What a great segue. Let's
Thank
talk
you.
about gay.
Yeah. So nothing that overtly gay in this one, but it does have Clea Duvall in a major role. And she is such, even though she's not actually playing a gay character, she herself just has such like a palpable gay aura that she can like single-handedly take it up a few notches, I think.
I mean, I also think there was sort of like, even though her character is not gay, I do feel like there is chemistry between her and Mary Beth.
I agree.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I think I would have liked that more if her arc in the movie is that she is gay
I would have too.
and that she like purposefully becomes one with the
Ooh.
like she
and
actually
Mary Beth
chooses
fall
it.
in love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
like
I like that.
I would have liked that.
I would have liked that too, actually.
But this
That's
was
good.
the 90s.
Yeah.
So this is not, but I'm a cheerleader. So it has some
That's
gay
okay, because we
coding
also have, but
But
I'm a cheerleader.
cheerleader.
in her.
So,
Yeah,
thank
so-
goodness.
where she is gay.
yes.
And
she is gay in real life, Clea Duvall.
Yeah.
And on
And in
Veep.
my heart. Oh,
Yeah.
and on Veep. Also in my heart.
Is that where Veep is on? Is that where Veep is streaming? In your heart? Okay.
Absolutely.
And just like that sort of ambient, like campy 90s, like not gay, but the campiness like makes it.
I also think the way that like the sort of like overtly over the top like football team men all like shouting at each other and like I don't know, there's something that's always just been kind of gay coded
Yeah.
about that sort of like, I would say like camp is the right word. So the campy like football bros all broing out and touching each other.
I give this 1.5 scats out of 6.
How many sliced fingers were there?
Four.
Was it
I
just 4? I
believe.
think so. I'm going to give it 1 out of 4 purely because of Clea. I feel like it can never be 0 in anything she's in.
Yeah.
So.
I'm gonna say one Jon Stewart movie appearance out of a whole career of Jon Stewart.
All right.
Okay.
So we're all saying it's not that gay.
But it's not.
It's not devoid of gay.
Yes.
There's a little bit of gay to keep you going.
There's a glimmer of gay. A song in your heart and a glimmer of gay.
Gay!
And anything we loathe.
Yeah, what's to loathe?
I don't think I loathe anything in this movie. Even them like ending up with the teacher at the end, I'm like, it was the 90s, and honestly, I just can't give a shit.
I don't think I really loathe anything. I thought the soundtrack was really funny because it's so 90s.
Yes. Also, the great moment of soundtrack and just great vibes. They're rolling into the football game. It's playing a cover of Another Brick in the Wall, and it's just like that amazing shot of like Robert Patrick like smirking with like there's fireworks and like sprinklers in the background, and just like the 90s vibes are so powerful in that scene.
Like if I had to make it better, I'd say it would be all practical effects, but in 1998 for that budget it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really loath. I mean, I guess I dislike like maybe like there are things I think could have been better. Like you know what would have been funny is if at the end if Stokely stays gothic and then Stan becomes gothic.
Oh, yes. You're right.
Like there
That
are ways
also
so
would have
much
been
better.
good.
there are
Yeah,
ways that
you're right.
I
Stokely's
love
character
that.
could have been done better. Like
Yeah.
either just fully make her gay and have her have an arc with Mary Beth, or just keep her goth and then have Stan become goth. Like,
You're right. Those are both much better options.
but again, like for this movie and what it is, I love it.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
don't have an
really
issue.
fun. I highly recommend it for any of you who haven't seen it in a long time or have never seen it. It's
Me
just
too.
it's just a really, really fun film.
Yeah.
Any loathing.
The only thing I could think to loathe was Danny Masterson again.
Oh, sure.
Loathe the rapist.
But he's barely
Minimal.
in this.
He has like
Minimal.
3 lines.
I don't think
minimal.
he's a named character.
I don't think so either. But that's it. That's the only thing I would loathe. Like, I thought it was great.
Awesome.
All right, well, where can people find us?
People can email us. Our address is queerandloathingpod@gmail.com. They can find us on Instagram at Queer and Loathing Pod. They can find us on Letterboxd at 666bitch, at HaterTot, at And I'm Samantha.
It's up to you to guess which is which.
They can skywrite us. We live in a major city. So just keep going.
It's an A major city? Sorry.
Yes. Send us a carrier pigeon to somewhere. We'll get it.
Yeah. Keep going. Nope.
Some smoke signals.
I'm trying to befriend my
else is
neighborhood
there?
crows, so send me a crow.
Yeah, send us a crow.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
It doesn't even have to have a message.
No.
Just send
Just
us
send
a
me
crow.
a
We'll know.
crow.
We'll know. We'll know what it means.
Yeah.
So until next time, I'm queer.
I'm loathing.
And I'm Samantha.
Hail Satan.
Mwah!